Namaste, Dhanavad Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we're here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 28, Text 25. Nabihridham Bhuvana Kosha Guhodarastam Yatratma Yoni Dishana Kila Loka Padmam Vyudam Harin Mani Vrishastanayor Amosya Jayedvayam Vishadahara Mayuka Garam. The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds and which appear whitish because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. Purport. The yogi is advised next to meditate upon the navel of the Lord, which is the foundation of all material creation. Just as a child is connected to his mother by the umbilical cord, so the firstborn living creature, Brahma, by the supreme will of the Lord, is connected to the Lord by a lotus stem. In the previous verse, it was stated that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who engages in massaging the legs, ankles, and thighs of the Lord, is called the mother of Brahma. But actually, Brahma is born from the abdomen of the Lord, not from the abdomen of his mother. These are inconceivable conceptions of the Lord, and one should not think materially, how can the father give birth to a child? It is explained in Brahma Samhita that each limb of the Lord has the potency of every other limb. Because everything is spiritual, his parts are not conditioned. The Lord can see with his ears. The material ear can hear but cannot see. But we understand from Brahma Samhita that the Lord can also see with his ears and hear with his eyes. Any organ of his transcendental body can function as any other organ. His abdomen is the foundation of all planetary systems. Brahma holds the post of the creator of all planetary systems, but his engineering energy is generated from the abdomen of the Lord. Any creative function in the universe always has a direct connecting link with the Lord. The necklace of pearls, which decorates the upper portion of the Lord's body, is also spiritual, and therefore the yogi is advised to gaze at the whitish luster of the pearls decorating his chest. Text 26. Vachodvivasham rishabhasya mahavibhute Pumsam mano nayana nivritim madhatanam Kantam chakastu bhamaner adhibhushanartam Kuryan manasya kila loka namaskritasya. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of the goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustubha gem, which hangs on his chest. Purport. In the Upanishads, it is said that the various energies of the Lord are working to create, destroy, and maintain. These inconceivable varieties of energy are stored in the bosom of the Lord. As people generally say, God is all-powerful. That prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi, the reservoir of all energies, who is situated on the bosom of the transcendental form of the Lord. The yogi who can meditate perfectly on that spot on the transcendental form of the Lord can derive many material powers which comprise the 8 perfections of the yoga system. It is stated herein that the beauty of the neck of the Lord enhances the beauty of the Kaustubha gem, rather than vice versa. The gem itself becomes more beautiful because it is situated on the neck of the Lord. A yogi is therefore recommended to meditate upon the Lord's neck. The Lord's transcendental form can neither be meditated upon in the recommended. The Lord's transcendental form can either be meditated upon in the mind or placed in a temple in the form of a statue and decorated in such a way that everyone can contemplate it. Temple worship is therefore meant for persons who are not so advanced that they can meditate upon the form of the Lord. There is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are of equal value. The advantageous position of the yogi is that he can sit anywhere in a solitary place and meditate upon the form of the Lord. A less advanced person, however, has to go to the temple, and as long as he does not go to the temple, he is unable to see the form of the Lord. Either by hearing, seeing, or meditating, the objective is the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of voidness or impersonalism. The Lord can bestow the blessings of transcendental pleasure upon either a visitor of the temple or a meditator yogi, or one who hears about the Lord's transcendental form from scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. There are 9 processes for executing devotional service, of which smaranam or meditation is one. Yogis take advantage of the process of smaranam, whereas bhakti yogis take special advantage of the process of hearing and chanting. Text 27. Mahum Shamandara Gire Parivartanena Nirnikta Bahu Bhalayan Adhiloka Palan Sanchintaya Dasa Sataram Asahye Teja Shankam Chatatkara Saro Ruha Raja Hamsam. The yogi should further meditate upon the Lord's 4 arms, which are the source of all the powers of the demigods who control the various functions of material nature. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it revolved. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshan chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan, in his lotus-like palm. Purport. All departments of law and order emanate from the arms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The law and order of the universe is directed by different demigods, and it is here said to emanate from the Lord's arms. Mandara Hill is mentioned here because when the ocean was churned by the demons on the one side and demigods on the other, Mandara Hill was taken as the churning rod. The Lord, in his tortoise incarnation, became the pivot for the churning rod, and thus his ornaments were polished by the turning of Mandara Hill. In other words, the ornaments on the arms of the Lord are as brilliant and lustrous as if they had been polished very recently. The wheel in the hand of the Lord, called the Sudarshan chakra, has 1,000 spokes. The yogi is advised to meditate upon each of the spokes. He should meditate upon each and every one of the component parts of the transcendental form of the Lord. Text 28. Komoda kim bhagavato daitam smarita Digdhammarati bhattasanita kardamena malam madruvrata varuta girupagustam chaitasya tattvam amalam manhimasya kate. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kamodaki, and is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons, who are always inimical soldiers, and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. Purport. The yogi must contemplate the different parts of the transcendental body of the Lord. Here it is stated that the constitutional position of the living entities should be understood. There are two kinds of living entities mentioned here. One is called the arti. They are mentioned here. One is called the arti. They are averse to understanding the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, the Lord appears with his hand clutching a terrible mace, which is always smeared with bloodstains from his killing of demons. Demons are also sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all the different species of living entities are sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are, however, two classes of living entities who act in two different ways. The Supreme Lord keeps on his neck those living entities who are pure, as one protects the jewels and pearls on the bosom and neck of one's body. Those living entities in pure Krishna consciousness are symbolized by the pearls on his neck. Those who are demons are inimical toward the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are punished by his mace, which is always smeared with the blood of such fallen living entities. The club of the Lord is very dear to him because he uses this instrument to smash the bodies of the demons and mix their blood. As mud is kneaded with water and earth, so the earthly bodies of the enemies of the Lord, or the atheists, are smashed by the club of the Lord, which becomes muddied with the blood of such demons. Text 29. Vijhanu kampita diyeha grihita morte sanchintayed bhagavato vadhanaravindam yad vishfuran makara kundala valgitina vidyoti tamala kapolam udaranasam. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator-shaped earrings. Purport. The Lord descends to the material world out of his deep compassion for his devotees. There are two reasons for the Lord's appearance or incarnation in the material world. Whenever there is a discrepancy in the discharge of religious principles, and there is prominence of irreligion, the Lord descends for the protection of the devotees and the destruction of the non-devotees. When he appears, his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. He does not have to come himself to destroy the demons, for he has many agents. Even the external energy, Maya, has sufficient strength to kill them. But when he comes to show compassion to his devotees, he kills the non-devotees as a matter of course. The Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. There are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one absolute. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, Anantarupam. All the different forms of the Lord are one, but some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha and Krishna, others prefer to see him as Sita and Ramachandra, and others see him as Lakshmi Narayan. and others want to see him as four-handed Narayan, Vasudeva. The Lord has innumerable forms, and he appears in a particular form as preferred by a particular type of devotee. A yogi is advised to meditate upon the forms that are approved by devotees. A yogi cannot imagine a form for meditation. Those so-called yogis who manufacture a circle or target are engaged in nonsense. Actually, a yogi must meditate upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has been experienced by the Lord's pure devotees. Yogi means devotee. Yogis who are not actually pure devotees should follow in the footsteps of devotees. It is especially mentioned here that the yogi should meditate upon the form which is thus approved. He cannot manufacture a form of the Lord. And thus ends our reading for today. I will continue on to text 30 on Friday. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nishringapali Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Gangamayi Yamunamayi Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Shyam Kund Radhakund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Om. Jai Shrimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Dandavat Pranam.